travelers and tourists. My name is Mark, and I'm the local disaster tour guide. That's right, I'm a storyteller who is just chomping at the bit to recreate that Iron Man suit-up from Infinity War. You know the one I'm talking about. Welcome to a journey through the fantastic world of TTRPGs like Pathfinder and Starfinder. Now, usually this channel we talk a lot about Pathfinder 2nd Edition, but if you've been here a while, you know that I am a fan of Starfinder as well. And I'm a little sad that I don't get to talk about Starfinder as much as I would like to. So today, I've brought a guest on so that we can talk about the new book, Tech Revolution, and the new Nanocyte Class for Starfinder that is in that book. So let's go ahead and introduce our guest for today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Howdy, I am the Goat King, and very excited to get into this.
All right. Before we go into the topic for today, would you like to tell us a little bit about your channel and about the type of content that you create?
My channel, GoatKingDice, I like to create videos about just the nerdy stuff I find fun in this hobby. I mostly do videos on Pathfinder 2nd Edition and Starfinder, and right now I'm doing a video series for Starfinder about the various playable races in the 4 alien archives.
One of the great things about Starfinder, I think, is just the variety of alien species available. If you can't tell, I'm a huge fan of skittermanders.
If I remember correctly, I once counted, and there were over 80 playable races.
I think that the creative team at Paizo is having a little bit too much fun with the playable races, but I'm not going to stop them.
I wouldn't dream of it.
Alright, so the reason I've got you on today is recently Starfinder has released a new hardcover book called Tech Revolution, and this book covers a lot of basically technology-themed options for players and game masters to use in their Starfinder games, and one of the big features of this book, one of the selling points, is the new Nanocyte Class. So, Goat King, can you tell us a little bit about what the Nanocyte Class is, give us a big picture, and kind of let us know what this class is supposed to represent inside of the game?
Absolutely. The Nanocyte is a force of technology, having incorporated within themselves a swarm of nanomachines. With these machines, the Nanocyte is always equipped for any situation. Between creating various bits of equipment, weapons, and armor upgrades to filling the environment with a cloud that helps it in combat, both moving more quickly and certain special effects you can get, to just reinforcing its own body, the Nanocyte is this fantastic combat class. They've got the full base attack progression, and they're a lot of fun. It's a very cool class.
So that brings up one of the first questions I thought we could kick around on this Nanocyte class. If you wanted to compare the Nanocyte to some of the other classes in Starfinder, which classes would you compare them to and why?
So my first instinct is to compare them to the Vanguard from the Character Operations Manual, seeing as they are both Constitution-based classes with full base attack progression. However, while the Vanguard excels primarily in martial combat, the Nanocyte has a lot more range and utility options. The next thing that comes to mind for me is the Soldier. Rather than the Vanguard, while the Soldier isn't Constitution-based, their range of attack options is nearly mirrored in the Nanocyte. The Nanocyte, however, does not, by default, boast the Soldier's proficiency in heavy armor or weapons.
So I definitely think the Vanguard and the Soldier are two very good comparisons for this class. Like you mentioned earlier, the full base attack bonus, this is intended to be an offensive class. It's intended to be a combat class. I kind of look at it as like the Vanguard with a little bit of the Technomancer mixed in. It's like you've got that tech flavor, but instead of manipulating it through spell slots, they're manipulating it through these nanomachines that they have incorporated into their body, and you kind of get a similar flavor, even though the mechanical application is very different in-game.
That's very interesting, actually.
One of the things we're going to talk about today is And to anyone who's watching this video, know that it would be impossible for us to hit everything in this class. Paizo is really good about giving you 10 million options, and you want to use all of them, but unfortunately you can't. But what we would like to do is we'd like to highlight some of the things that this class offers so that you know what kind of characters and what kind of stories you can get out of it. And the Nanocyte comes with kind of four main features. The first one is called the Nanite Surge, and this just represents your Nanocyte's ability to push their nanites and do special things with them. The number of surges you get is based off your Constitution modifier plus your level. But your interesting choices are your Nanite Array, your Nanite Faculties, and your Nanite Knacks. So first up, we're going to talk about the Nanite Arrays. So Goat King, can you talk about the three different arrays that the Nanocyte can use?
Absolutely. First in the list is the Sheath Array. This array is your option for when you want to bolster your body and make yourself stronger and more powerful. The Sheath Array gives you a +1 enhancement bonus to your reflex saving throws and a +1 insight bonus to checks with a couple of your various skills. And at third and every 4 levels thereafter, it increases by 1.
The next nanite array is called the Cloud Array. This one I think is very interesting. You actually spray your nanites out in a cloud, and you start out with a small number of squares. It's 1 plus your Constitution modifier, but as you level up, that will increase. And this cloud allows your nanocyte to move farther when they take the guarded step action, and they can spend a nanite surge to turn this cloud into concealment to kind of protect themselves as long as they're staying in or behind this cloud. And then what's the final array?
The final Nanocyte Array, which personally my favorite, is the Gear Array. And this is probably where a lot of the expected flavor for the Nanocyte comes from. You can manifest a weapon, just your nanites create it. And you have a variety of major forms. These are typically weapons or armor upgrades, and minor forms, which are typically small technological devices. Only caveat, you have to carry your ammo with you. So manifesting this giant gun, you still need to pull out a battery or a pack of ammo to load it with. But God, it's just the coolest possible thing a nanocyte could do.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I was joking about earlier, is that scene from Infinity War where Iron Man causes the armor to overlay him. And I might be false selling this class because I don't know if you can use armor with the gear array, but just the ability to call something out of thin air is just so visually amazing. So.
I have to say, if there was one thing I was disappointed with about the nanocyte, it would be that armor is not included in the gear array. Perhaps one of the Knacks adds it, but I did not see that, so I can't.
If one of the Knacks, I don't think it's added in the Knacks, but I feel like that is House Rule Territory 101. So you mentioned that Gear Array is your favorite, correct?
Yes, it is.
All right. So I definitely see the appeal. Gear Array is a ton of fun, and the storytelling, or just like the visual storytelling that goes with that, is amazing. I think, from my perspective, because I'm usually the game master for my group, I really love the Cloud Array and the weird movement abilities that it gives you, because I really feel like you can mess with your players' heads in terms of just, how is my opponent moving this way? How are they able to do things like that? I think you could create some good horror movie vibes using the Cloud Array.
Yeah, that is very cool, and especially coming from a place of regularly playing Pathfinder 2nd Edition, where Attack of Opportunity isn't that common, and then going back occasionally to play Starfinder, being able to 5-foot step further due to this cloud is just really strong.
You appreciate
get
it.
out of those situations.
And I kind of hate that I'm selling the sheath array short because that's a classic sci-fi staple as well. The using tech to upgrade your body and make yourself more lethal, more efficient in combat. Like you can get some good storytelling out of that. I just love the visual storytelling that goes with the other two so much. So
You know, perhaps Sheath Array is where that Iron Man moment comes in, because it also gives you temporary hit points.
that's true.
So using Sheath Array, you could totally flavor it to be this like thin super suit that forms over your body, and those temporary hit points can very easily represent the damage it takes and then
Mm-hmm.
repairs away when you use your nanocyte surge.
I had not thought about that, and I have learned something during a live recording. So, but good call. All right, so those are the nanite arrays. We're going to move on now to the nanite faculties, and these are kind of the subclasses for the Nanocyte class. So, would you like to start us out on what some of the faculty options are?
Absolutely. And I gotta say, for subclasses, these are some of my favorite subclasses in the game. They are just awesome. Starting out, we have Discorporation. Discorporation is for characters who want to be able to squeeze through vents and prison bars. And when you start becoming ooze-like in this way, you also start becoming resistant to wounding effects,
Mm-hmm.
including severe wounding effects. This is a very cool faculty, being able to go be squishy. You also get various things where you can reactively make a nanocyte cloud.
I'll say on Discorporation, I enjoy the way it messes with the movement aspect of the cloud array. Recut to the start of Discorporation. My apologies. My brain went. I don't know what happened there.
Okay. Discorporation is the faculty for players who want their character to be able to squeeze in and out of tight spaces without really noticing it all. And this involves moving through vents and prison bars as well. Not to mention, at higher levels, you start to become resistant and immune to wounding and severe wounding effects.
I definitely think this makes for an entertaining one. One of my favorite abilities from this, which we totally messed up in an earlier take on this video, is the Swarm Shadow ability, where you can literally become your sheath array for one of your party members, which is both creepy and amazing.
It's this very interesting supportive role for a full base attack bonus class. I like it a lot.
All right, and the next faculty that we have is the Infestation faculty, and it's one of the offensive variations for the class, and it's all about causing like really terrible wounds to your opponent. One of the core abilities from this is called Malignant Mist. Can you tell us a little bit about that one?
Malignant Mist is this passive attack ability that you can have applied to your sheath or your cloud, depending on which one you have activated at the time. Any creature within your cloud or that attacks you when you have your sheath activated with a natural melee or a melee weapon that doesn't have reach receives a damaging attack as your nanites burrow into them. And this starts as a D6, but it quickly scales at 3rd level, 5th level, and then it will increasingly scale every 2 levels after that.
I think that makes for just such a creepy ability of someone tries to attack you and then the nanites start tearing into them, and like I imagine for people who aren't anticipating that would just be a frightening moment. I'm really getting some Halloween vibes from this class, and I know I've got Christmas decorations in the background, but I definitely think that this is not just a fun player character class. I think GMs could make some good villains out of this.
Absolutely. I like to think of the infestation faculty as the walking plague.
Very
Just
nice.
being able to spread your influence and just cause pain and suffering all around you. It's pretty cool, actually.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit about the next faculty that players can take?
Obliteration is for our more purely offensive focused players. The main ability of obliteration, unstoppable nanites, means that weapons formed from your gear array gain the penetrating and boost special properties, and the boost has a 1d4. So by spending extra ammo, you can add a d4 to your damage, or if the weapon doesn't have ammo, you spend a nanite surge to add extra damage to your weapon. At later levels, you start to get where you can change your damage type, and it follows along this path of ever increasing power with your guns and your swords and whatever you choose to make with your gear array.
Yeah, obliteration is for people who play subtle characters like I play subtle characters. I've always joked that I don't do subtle, and so when I saw obliteration as an option for one of the faculties, it swiftly became one of my top picks for this class just because I love the over-the-tops. So up next, we have the redirection faculty, and this is actually the faculty that made me kind of say that it reminds me a bit of the Technomancer class, because with the redirection array, you get abilities where like you can use your nanites to push things and pull things. There's the particle push ability where you can try to shove people and trip people from a distance, and you can almost make yourself out as like this telekinetic master when really you're just using these mini machines to assault people at a distance.
Yeah, this faculty is really about making the area covered by your cloud your kingdom. You are in control. If you shoot at someone in this area, you might have shot the wrong direction. The bullet's still going to hit them. This has like a king of the hill feel.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very controlling a particular area faculty, and I love it.
All right, and can you tell us about the last faculty that players can take for this class?
So, as much as I've been gushing on all the other faculties, this is actually my favorite because if you know me, I often enjoy playing healer characters, and regeneration makes you a healer as much as you are a full combat character. The main ability is reactive repair, where an ally adjacent to you or within your nanite cloud gets fast healing applied to their stamina, as well as they gain a temporary hit point every round. These temporary hit points actually stack, so every round, while affected, their temporary hit points will grow. You could use this to pre-game the mission, boost them up with a ton of temporary hit points before running in with them to help them cause chaos. Or even if an ally has gone down, you can get close to them and essentially shield them by pouring hit points onto them. I like it a lot. At later levels, you get where you can perform first aid and other medical activities through your cloud on allies that you're not anywhere near. And at 9th level, you get Flesh Donor, where you can transfer your stamina points to your ally.
I definitely think that regeneration is powerful. It it allows your combat character to play a really fantastic support role. And it kind of reminds me of like the paladin or the champion in fantasy RPGs. Like, you've got that combat ability. You can be, involved in the heaviest part of the fighting, but at the same time, you have the ability to protect your allies and keep them up in the fight. And, you're a key part of keeping your team going. So definitely enjoy the regeneration faculty. I just really want to abuse the I think it's 17th level ability Healing Swarm, where every time you spend a nanite surge, you heal. And so it's just like, watch me spam all of my abilities and refuse to drop. Like, it's the perfect tanking ability.
Yeah, and it's not every time you spend a nanite surge to Healing Swarm. It's just every time you spend one. So you could be using these to add concealment to your nanite cloud. You could be using these to, by this time you'll have a second faculty, so you might be adding damage to your weapon and gaining hit points back at the same time. It's very cool.
So those were some of the nanite faculties. The last major thing that you're going to be choosing when you play a nanocyte is your nanocyte Knacks. And these follow kind of the pattern that you see with a lot of other classes in Starfinder, where just every so many levels you get to take another ability that is specific to that class. And, it might modify your array, it might modify something you get from one of your faculties, or it might just be this standalone ability that you can use. But it's something they do a lot in Starfinder, and it's one of the ways you get to kind of flavor and customize your class. And like we usually see when we see abilities like this in Starfinder, they're divided into like low-level ones that you can take right as you're starting to level up, and then you've got some middle tier and even some high tier Knacks that you can choose. And it'd take forever to go through all of them, but I asked you to just pick out a couple of them that stand out to you, maybe a low-level one or a high-level one, something like that. Give me a couple that you enjoy, that you think would be a lot of fun or bring a lot of flavor to the Nanocyte class.
The first one I chose, this is one of the low-level ones, one of the ones you could get at second level if you so chose. Esoteric Edge. Esoteric Edge gains you proficiency with 2 special weapons, and you can select special weapons for your major forms for your gear array. What this means is you can get the Mind Layer, or one of the other absolutely bizarre weapons in Starfinder that, because they're a whole separate category, sometimes it's hard to invest enough to get to them and then make use of them. But having this right there is just this excuse to put some crazy weird gun onto your character. And I will take any excuse I can get.
There is some fun tech in Starfinder, and it's nice to have the excuse to use that fun tech. My low-level one that I picked, and I'll admit this is one of those, like, it's very simple, it's very generic, but if you're an experienced gamer, you also know that it's very powerful, and that's Agile Host. And that's the one that your sheath array, it doesn't just improve your skills and your reflex saves, it improves your initiative. And, it's like there's going first and there's getting shot. Those are your options in a lot of games. That boost to initiative is just this nice little power play that you can get early game.
I will say that is very nice, especially as a person who, on the last game he played, rolled a 1, a 2, and a 3 for initiative in all 3 combats.
Oh. So for my mid-level knack that I picked, I took the 6th level, and this also modifies the sheath array. I know I haven't been talking about sheath very much, so I guess I had to be nice in this section. Facial reconfiguration, which allows you to use your sheath array as basically a disguise kit. And if you nanite surge, you can disguise kit yourself. I think it's like as a single action, if I remember correctly. Yeah, one full action. But if you want an espionage nanocyte, this is the knack for you.
I have to say, personally, when it comes to jumping into sneaky situations, I always love the ability to quickly jump into a sneaky situation, as I am almost never planning to be sneaky. For my higher level knack, I chose sensory nanites. Man, what I saw on this one was I can stretch my cloud across the entire room, and then if anything passes through, I know. And I thought, yes, I want that. Your cloud gains blind sense vibration within 5 feet. So one block either side of your cloud, and for the entirety inside the cloud, you can sense if something's there, which, if you're dealing with an invisible enemy, that is awesome. As well as if you need to, like, you're within range of your cloud array, but you don't have a direct line of sight, you can put your cloud array in a doorway that you won't be able to directly see, and then if something comes through that doorway, you're gonna know. It's this, I like the idea of being able to put essentially a detection grid in an area, and doesn't matter if you're invisible or not. I know you're there.
As a player, a well-developed sense of paranoia is essential to survival, and that ability is just a fantastic defensive option. Now, I had one more knack I wanted to talk about, and it's one of the 18th levels, so this is one of your high-level payoff knacks. It's called Omnipresent Form. If your cloud array is out, it allows you to teleport from any spot in your cloud array to any other spot in your cloud array. And that's the ability that really just perfects the horror movie vibes of this class for me. And if I wanted to turn this into like a villain as a game master, this is totally what I would be giving them.
My initial thought as a player, it's a really useful way to run away. If I leave a trail of nanite cloud on my way to go punch someone in the face, and they punch back harder, I can nope out of there really far, really quick. But also being able to spread it out. By 18th level, you're probably going to have a pretty large cloud. So being able to spread out and essentially have tendrils reaching out through the room to different areas, and then you can kind of blink around the room to get to different things if you needed to. I could imagine a fun cutscene where a nanocyte with this ability is operating a starship by themselves.
I like it. That would be a ton of fun. Okay, so that kind of covers the different options for the Nanocyte. And truth be told, I imagine the two of us, we could be here all day just talking about all the fun different options that the Nanocyte has. But one of the good things about Paizo is when they do new products like Tech Revolution, they make it a point to offer support for existing classes as well. So there is some content in this book for the other Starfinder classes that can take advantage of what Tech Revolution has to offer. And so I wanted to take a moment and just highlight a couple of the options to give the people watching this a taste of what some of the other classes might be able to get as well. So what is your favorite new class option for a class other than the Nanocyte?
And this is a little weird for me because in Starfinder, I don't normally play casters, but this might motivate me to play a caster. The Technomancer got an option to have a mechanics drone. Now, what you lose for this is a spell slot per level per day. So, casters in Starfinder are already pretty limited, and this is going to cut into that a little bit. but you get a drone.
Right?
And the mechanic is my favorite class above all. And if I'm playing a mechanic, they're going to have a drone.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, they added 3 new drone chassis. 3 new drone chassis in this book. So having another class that can dig into this little system,
Mm-hmm.
I really like it. I really like it quite a lot.
I do think that the drone is one of those fun, if you're playing Starfinder, it's almost one of those must-play aspects of the game. Like, it's a unique aspect of playing sci-fi or sci-fantasy, so I agree with you. Technomancers getting a drone is a ton of fun. I have to talk about my favorite Starfinder class, which is the Witch Warper. In this book, the Witch Warper has an ability called Infinite Tech, which replaces infinite worlds, and they can burn one of their spell slots to conjure a weapon or armor just either onto their body or into their hands. There are some limits. Basically, the limits are it has to be a weapon or armor that they are capable of using. That's kind of how it's set up. But basically, they just pull a weapon or armor from another dimension and start using it when you are so bleeding edge that your weapons don't even exist yet. That's when you know you have arrived in a tech setting.
Yeah, that's amazing, and it also touches on what some of the Nanocyte does with its gear array. That's another. I noticed we both picked something where they kind of get something another class can do.
Mm-hmm. It's
From
fun when
us.
you can mix those things. And then I also have to shout out the Witch Warper parallel modification, which allows them to basically do the same thing as Infinite Tech, but for the vehicle that they're driving. So, because if you're a
That is
fan of this
very cool.
channel, vehicle rules, you know I love them. Okay, so that kind of covers what we have scheduled for this video today. But this is not going to be the end of this conversation. We are also going to be talking about mechs from Tech Revolution, but we're actually going to be doing that over on Goat King's channel. And I will try to throw a video link up here and down in the video description to his channel and to that conversation as well. But before we get out of here, where can we find your stuff? And is there anything else you'd like to tell us about your channel?
Well, Mark, you'll have a video link in the description. That should be probably the most direct way a person can take. And I've got some homebrew rule stuff for Pathfinder 2nd Edition I've been doing. And I've got a lot for Starfinder. One of my early video series I did for Starfinder was about Starship Combat, which I personally love, but I've noticed a lot of the community has a hard time getting into. So if you're looking for bite-sized videos on that to help individual players or the GM, you can find those on my channel. As I mentioned earlier, I'm covering every race in Starfinder, starting with the ones in the Alien Archives, which is it's a long journey, but probably the most recent one to come out before this video will be on the Petra, which are the cat folk aliens. So I've got a lot I'm working on, and I'm going to keep working on it.
All right. Well, to everyone watching this video, let me strongly encourage you to go check out Goat King's content. I think I was one of the early people who saw his Starship Combat videos, and I will just say I truly appreciated those. I like Starfinder Starship Combat, but it can be a little bit overwhelming, and so it was nice to have those videos as quick and easily digestible sources. So if you're looking for Starship Combat, definitely recommend his channel, and he's got a lot of other great content as well. But Goat King, thank you so much for being here, and thank you to everyone who is watching this video. Thank you for being a part of the conversation, and have a wonderful day.
A wonderful day, everybody. It was an honor, Mark.